Good day, everyone. We are the Group 1, and our report is all about content and language integrated learning. So, what is CLIL? It is an approach used to teach subjects which focus on learning a new language and content. This approach is usually implemented to teach content through a target language. Or, in the simplest term, content and language integrated learning, or the CLIL, is an approach where students learn subject and a second language at the same time. For example, science course it can be taught to the students through English, and not only they can learn about this course but also they gain a relevant vocabulary and language skills. It's also important to note that CLIL is not a means of simplifying content or reteaching something to students that they already know in a new language. CLIL courses should truly integrate the language and content in order to be successful, and success is determined when both the subject matter and language is learned. So these are the challenges and advantages of CLIL. The, the advantages are seeks to engage and challenge students with broad concepts of knowledge. Second, improves levels of competence for English for specific purposes. Third, helps students to develop skills for professional and post-secondary life. Fourth, helps students to develop critical thinking skills in the target language. And these are the challenges. First, time needed for acquisition of key vocabulary because it might be the terminology of the content is or can be difficult. That is why a certain amount of time is really needed to be allocated to the teaching. Second, extra workload and challenges for the students. Third, time consuming because the teacher preparation might take longer. And the last one, lack of language proficiency. The advantage comes from the learners themselves because they might have limitation of English proficiency as well as they cannot understand and speak the language appropriately, thus resulting the students being demotivated in learning. So these are the key concepts in CLIL. First is the scaffolding. It is to make the language easier, or it can also refers to ways of supporting learners' learning. For example of scaffolding are pair and group works, visual aids, graphic organizers, for examples charts, graphs, or diagrams, underlining or putting keywords in bold, etc. Second one is Bloom's taxonomy. It is to engage learners with different kind of task. For example, classifies learning objectives in education and puts skills in hierarchy from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. Then the third one is supporting the four skills which are speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Then the fourth one is the four C's: uh, content, cognition, communication, and culture.
The 4 C's: content, cognition, communication, culture. So, content is acquiring and learning knowledge of the subject matter. Cognition is developing critical thinking skills in both languages about concrete and abstract ideas. Signifies the learn and thinking processes. Communication, using language to learn whilst learning to use language. Culture, exposure to alternative perspectives and shared understandings which deepen awareness of self and otherness. So next, what are the benefits of CLIL? First, a deeper understanding of the target language. As students learn content in the second language, they form links in their minds between their first language or L1, the target language L2, and the content. So, this fosters better metalinguistic skills, the ability to reflect on language and meaning. They learn how languages work. In other words, children who study the rules of grammar of a second language invariably they find themselves better grammarians in their native language. Each language can be studied through the lens of the other. Second, improve social and critical thinking skills. The same benefits to communicative ability that accrue to bilingual people in general, of course, come to students in a CLIL program, and they have more opportunities to put these skills into practice as they move between the language classroom and the subject classroom. Whether you use it for gathering information or convincing others that your conclusions are correct, good communication is crucial in the critical thinking process. Getting people to share their ideas and information with you and showing your critical thinking are components of success. If you're making a work-related decision, proper communication with your co-workers will help you gather the information you need to make the right choice. So the last one, a stronger, more flexible brain. Students in a CLIL program do more than just learn a language. They learn in the language, so they are constantly using the language and improving. Flexible thinking is a very important social skill. The ability to think flexibly helps people to get along with others, helps groups to be more effective, and helps people solve problems and or try new ways of doing things. Cognitive flexibility is the ability to think about something in a different way.
And now I'm going to discuss about the components of CLIL. The target language, English, is used to give instruction of content. The instructions of engaging theme-related content increase students' motivation to learn the language. CLIL instructions is meant to be a long term, which correspond naturally with the research-based proposition that language is usually acquired over a period of 5 to 7 years. Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency, or CALP, is the focus of instruction. Fluency is emphasized over accuracy. Errors are viewed as a natural part of the learning process. The basis of a CLIL is that content subjects are taught and learned in a language which is not the mother tongue of the learners. Knowledge of the language becomes the means of learning content. Language is integrated into the broad curriculum. Learning is improved through increased motivation and the study of natural language seen in context. When learners are interested in a topic, they are motivated to acquire language to communicate. CLEL is based on language acquisition rather than enforced learning. Language is seen in real life situation in which students can acquire the language. This is natural language development which builds on other forms of learning. CLIL is a long-term learning. Students become academically proficient in English after 5 to 7 years in a good bilingual program. Fluency is more important than accuracy. An error are natural part of the language learning. Learners develop fluency in English by using English to communicate for a variety of purposes. Reading is the essential skill. And now let's proceed to the next slide. Who is CLEL for? CLEL can work for students of any age all the way from primary level to university and beyond. So long as the course content and language aims are designed with the content's needs in mind, there is no limit as to who can benefit from this teaching approach. Who is CLEL suited for? For student, just about any type of students can benefit from a CLEL approach. It has been used with all ages and ability levels. However, that doesn't mean that every student will be successful in a CLEL class, any more than every student is successful in any class, but the factors limiting a student's success are not tied to the CLEL approach. For the teacher, CLEL courses can take time and energy to prepare and carry out. A good CLEL teacher is someone who is committed to the approach and is hardworking, dedicated, and passionate about his or her students. In addition, a CLEL teacher should be skilled at communication and flexible because cooperating with the subject area teacher is essential. And for this subject, while almost any subject can be taught through a CLEL approach, the most suited are ones that involve students' cooperation, have a cultural aspect to them. Some examples are the social sciences, the arts, many trades, and some sciences such as biology and chemistry. One study found that math and physics were less suited for a CLEL approach because of their technical nature. A CLEL approach in these classes will probably rely more heavily on learning one use. And that's all. Thank you for listening.